Oh boy, we've got a plumbing disaster on our hands. We had a leak under the kitchen sink that slowly dripped underneath the flooring.
Oh, that does not look good.
In the previous videos, in case you missed them, we discovered the problem and assessed the damage. We cut off the pipe. Erroneously, we made a mistake by doing that. My thought was that I could take the shark bite fitting and just pop it on and then screw on the new valve. But the pros told me that plan wouldn't work, that I'd have to replace the entire pipe, possibly tearing out the cabinet. Panic, tears. I was able to remove the pipe and then prep the new pipe, tighten down the new quarter-turn dual valve. We put that piece into the wall, and then it was time to turn on the main. Tell her to slowly turn on the water. After a 2-second mishap, I closed those valves and then proceeded to dry out the saturated cabinetry thoroughly. While that was drying, I handled the low flow from the kitchen faucet due to a clogged aerator, and that just leaves one more problem, getting the saturated floor dry underneath without tearing up the whole floor. Can I do it? Let's find out. All right, this is pretty incredible. I've never seen anything like this before. We've got the leak happening from underneath the kitchen faucet, and check this floor out. It is squishy, ladies and gentlemen. The leak has saturated through the cabinetry down underneath the floor, and it is a hot mess. Let's go to the origin real quick so you can see what happened. We had a slow drip, a leak under the sink, drip, 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 and it basically went to the back of the cabinet. You can see there, not the front. It's dry in the front. It all kind of went to the back. It wasn't perfectly level, as probably no cabinet is, and it saturated underneath the floor, so it started to flow forward away from the sink. And this is what we're left with. So how in the world are we gonna take care of this without ripping out all of this flooring? Well, let me show you my little trick. Before I start, I'm gonna assess the damage. You can see there's water coming up through the seams, and I'm gonna kind of look at the perimeter of the kitchen. I'm gonna take off the little kick plate from the dishwasher and see if I can see the end of the flooring through here. You won't be able to see the edge unless you remove things like the toe kicks or the kick plates. I'm also going to back out the fridge because I want to see if I can see the edge. Did they lay the floor first and then put all the appliances and cabinetry on top of it, or vice versa? You can see right there, we cannot see the edge without tearing up baseboard. The lateral edges of the floor go all the way to the wall, and that's a problem. Real quick, I'm just going to take my shop vac and put it on the wet function and just suck out the water between all of the seams really well. I'm going to spend some time doing this. This is a little fast, so slow down, and we're going to try to suck out all the water from this way. This is only part of the solution, of course. We need to get underneath the flooring, actually, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I've got the fan pointed toward underneath the dishwasher and the open cabinetry, and we're going to create a vacuum. I've got the dehumidifier out as well. We're going to create a vacuum. We're going to open up any toe kicks like this, and here's the key. I am going to remove this transition strip right here using a paint scraper and some tools. I'm gently prying this transition piece up. This is the end, the deep end of the floor on the other end of the dishwasher. So we're going to pry this up, and it's a little stubborn. Get the hammer out and kind of point it downward, and that'll help pry it up. I don't want to damage this piece. Replacing it would be a huge problem, so I'm going to be really careful to make sure it comes out intact and that we can reapply it once we're all done here, hopefully, anyway. So here's a better angle at how I'm lifting this up. There are some brad nails holding it down, and so what I'm doing is penetrating those brad nails, putting that paint scraper on each nail and hitting it hard, and that severs the brad nail. They're thin, but they're long, and you're not going to get this thing out unless you cut those nails. And it should just pop up like this. We're going to remove this piece delicately. It is pinned underneath the toe kick on the left side. I just kind of pulled that out, and that's the only piece of trim that I am going to remove. And this is what I'm looking for. You can see here, I can delicately pry up. There's a little bit of moisture coming through. Yep, just like I suspected. I'm going to gently pry up. I'm going to put the end of the paint scraper right in the middle of the seam so that two planks are resting on the paint scraper, and same with this little pry tool. And I'm just going to gently lift up there to see how far I can go. You don't want to lift this too far up and have the planks disconnect from each other. But they should be able to lift up a half an inch, quarter of an inch or so. And then I'll get my box fan out and point it toward in the downward position. And this needs to be monitored, of course, so it doesn't fall over. And that should create some nice airflow underneath. But don't go anywhere. I'm going to step this up a notch because the box fan, you can tell, is not really concentrated. It just kind of generally blows things toward the general direction. So instead, I'm getting a leaf blower. I've got this one with a very narrow end, and the motor is on the underside, so that works out really well. I'm gonna flip it upside down so that the fan is pointing upward. You don't want this to overheat. And keep in mind, this is not designed for long-term running, and it should never be used unsupervised because it's not a fan, it's a leaf blower. So safety first always. But you can see the leaf blower has enough torque, so to speak, enough initial like power to lift up the floor. Here's a better look at all the airflow that it's creating. It actually moves the floating floor all the way up. This is a vinyl floating floor. Check the motor to make sure it's not overheating. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you can dry out underneath the floor without removing it. And I did this for a couple of days on and off until I was convinced that there's no more moisture underneath, and certainly no more moisture coming through. And I am satisfied. We're going to call this entire project a win. We are back to baseline, and hopefully you've learned something in this series. Be sure to check out the previous videos if you have not watched those already, and subscribe to the channel. Love to have you join our DIY community. And be sure to visit my website for free resources for homeowners. You can find that information in the description. Thanks for being with me. Good luck with your project.
Are you okay? Here, help me up.
All right, do it again.
You ready?
No, not so hard.
Okay, not so hard. Ready? Come and get me. Come and get me. Look, come over here.